So I've been asking this for a while now. Like we've all heard this, right? So the average or the mean salary in the United States is $51,916.27. That's the average, and we all understand that that average gets dragged up. All the million, $2 million salaries get counted with your salary, and it gets averaged out to this, right? And then the median, which is like the exact dead center between the lowest salary and the highest salary, the median is $34,000. What's the mode? You know what mode is, right? Mode is the most often occurring. What do most of us earn? Why is that number so possible to find? Is it because it's like $18,000?
So this TikToker's pointed out something that is honestly really obvious when you think about it, but we do have to take that minute to think about it. What is the most common income in the United States of America, and why is this important to understand? Well, the reason why it's important to understand is because the way that they lie by numbers, by pointing at the middle figures of how much people are making in the United States, it creates this impression that most people are able to get by. But the reality is, if the average wage is somewhere around $40,000 a year for a worker, then it's really hard to understand how most people could be getting by. And this ties into something that is very, very important to understand. Because the reality is that the United States paints this picture in sitcoms and television of the average American family living in a comfortable suburban home, not having to worry about medical bills or bankruptcies or student loans, when the reality is what is happening right now is more and more people across the country are living with their parents because it is just so expensive to afford the basic necessity. This is why if you look at household income has actually increased rapidly over the past few years, while average income is either stagnant or on the decline. And this is exactly because the rapidly increasing cost of living. I mean, think about this for a minute. According to recent numbers, about 80% of people make more than $15 an hour. Now, mind you, $15 an hour is only $28,000 a year before taxes. That also means that 20% of workers are making less than $28,000 a year. And the federal minimum wage right now really only pays like $18,000 a year. This is not a livable wage. I mean, if rent is $1,000 a month, that's $12,000 a year, which would leave you maybe $4,000 for the year. But of course, there's going to be some taxes taken out. So the reality is the average American worker today is struggling financially. They just put out these average numbers, these median numbers, and these mean numbers to try and paint a picture of a generally prosperous United States. But the reality is the large majority of people are struggling to survive. But the reason why this is all perpetuated is because in the United States, we have normalized shaming people for poverty. Whenever somebody admits that they're struggling financially, the immediate response from most people is to say, oh, you just need finance lessons. You just need advice about how to run the stock market or how to keep a budget. But you can't budget your way out of poverty. If your bills are more than the money that you make, there's no way to budget your way out of that. Especially if those bills are basic necessities like housing. But this normalization of shaming people for poverty and financial struggles has led to this reality where everybody puts on this front as though they are, doing fine financially and they're just perfectly stable and don't worry. So neighbors don't talk to each other about their financial struggles. Even sometimes family members don't talk to each other about financial struggles. People have a general conversation about how expensive things are in general, but rarely do they ever talk about their specific financial struggles. And this is part of how American culture was crafted by the media to make sure that people would not talk about the systemic problems that exist within our society.
This is Ben Carollo with Rebel Headquarters. You can catch my show Galaxy Brain on the Young Turks Twitch channel every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to stay up to date with my content, you can follow me at Benjamin Carollo on Twitter. And for those of you that might be wondering or have noticed, my pronouns are in fact she, her.